No rest for the weary here. Colorado's next election season's already underway. Several candidates have already announced their plans for state office. In November 2026, you will elect a governor, attorney general, secretary of state, and treasurer.
And tonight we're joined by one of those candidates who has already announced her candidacy more than 21 months before the next election. Representative Brianna Titone is running for state treasurer and joins us now in studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, you're the first transgender woman to run for statewide office in Colorado. So how do you feel about being a trailblazer in that regard?
You know, it's always a big responsibility to be the first person doing anything, but you know, this is really about filling a role that needs to have someone with a good track record in it. And that's what I've been trying to do from the get-go. When I ran for office the first time, it was about being someone who was going to be responsible to the people and do the things that they needed someone to do in that role. And that's what I've been doing for the last 6 years, going on 8 after my last term is up. And I think with the role of treasurer, I can fulfill that responsibility that people expect.
You know, prior to, I don't know what year, the last few years, there were state jobs like Secretary of State, like Treasurer, that were just hard-working jobs. You had a job to do and you did it. They weren't particularly incendiary. They didn't get a lot of attention until recently. And we've seen the Secretary of State job become so politicized and awful sometimes. Why would you voluntarily run for a state job at this point and not just lay low and go, let's let this current atmosphere blow over?
No, I'm glad you asked the question, because at this point right now, we're a little bit uncertain about what the future of our politics is going to be. We're getting to a constitutional crisis of our branches of government in the federal government not actually having checks and balances anymore. You know, if they're challenging the judiciary and saying, we're not going to do what you say, that undermines all of what we have in our Constitution. So, you know, to go volunteer for a job like this is actually running towards the danger and putting myself out in a position that's really vulnerable. But, you know, I want to be the person to do this role, because I think it's important to have someone, especially who's trans and has been under the foot of our president, to step up and do this role. I think is a big statement to make.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that role a little bit. What do you think you're going to bring to the state treasurer's office? Do you think that maybe fiscal responsibility is something that we need to focus on right now with the amount of debt that the state has, for example?
Absolutely. I mean, the treasurer's role is about fiscal responsibility. It's about taking the public money and investing it in the right way and being a fiduciary. And when you look at the track record of the bills that I've run over the years, consumer protections is one of the things that I'm always looking to do. Sticking up for the people who are being taken advantage of and making sure we're putting money back in the pockets of people that need it the most. And I've got a couple of things in the works that you'll be probably reporting on later on that are going to show how serious I am about that.
All right, 2026 campaign is underway. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.